Hey everyone, Golden Ninja 3000 here again. Today I'm reviewing LEGO Marvel Infinity Saga set number 76223, the Nano Gauntlet. This has 675 pieces and it retails for $70 in the US. I almost said 80 because I think that's what the Infinity Gauntlet has been increased in price to, but luckily this one stayed at 70. I will be doing a full comparison to the Infinity Gauntlet in a separate video, but I have to say, I like this a lot better than the Infinity Gauntlet, just because I like the actual, movie item a lot better than that one anyway. This gauntlet is right-handed instead of left-handed. That's the biggest difference besides the color scheme, but it was a pretty different build from what I remember of the Infinity Gauntlet. They are pretty different in shape, and while the LEGO versions may be relatively the same size, they're obviously much different sizes in the movie, so that kind of informs especially the bottom part of this build, because this build comes to like a nice kind of like even end here, like a regular glove, but the Infinity Gauntlet has more like flaps that kind of go down and cover up your forearm. So I do like the base of this one better just because I think it's a little bit of a cleaner look, and I really love the dark red and then drum lacquered silver color scheme, because there are so many drum lacquered silver parts in this set, and I'm really glad that LEGO went above and beyond to recolor like so many pieces into that color, because it was absolutely important for this set. So starting at the front, we've got the big red wedge pieces that make up, the main part of the glove. And like I said, this thing feels very solid and kind of more put together than the Infinity Gauntlet, just because that one is so much more ornate and this one is much plainer. But I really just want to go ahead and talk about the silver, because there's a lot of interesting building techniques. The core of this thing was similar to the Infinity Gauntlet, but I mean, I kind of just want to talk about this and stop talking about the Infinity Gauntlet, because like I said, I'll be doing a whole comparison video on that. So I really like the silver. I think that, these sloped pieces look excellent. And yes, LEGO is combining it with light gray, especially around the Mind Stone. These wheel arch pieces, they are not in drum lacquered silver, they're just light gray. And yes, that is just a little bit irritating, because if they were in drum lacquered silver, it would make this look even better. But it's really not that big of a deal. Like, you only really start to see it up close. Like, even when this thing is like that far away from me on the table, like, it blends together very well. So I'm not that upset that they didn't recolor it. I definitely think it's more noticeable on camera than it is in person. But I really like these newer wedge pieces that LEGO did in silver. And whoops, there you go. You get to see a little bit of the build there. But these pieces being in this silver color, that's really cool, because I didn't think that LEGO would recolor pieces like this that have studs. I didn't think that they would do this color for pieces like that. I expect drum lacquered gold and silver pieces to be like smooth parts, like, like these wedge tiles or like these sloped tiles, because they're painted. I'm pretty sure these pieces are like cast, like they're molded in light gray and then they're just like spray painted with silver. So I'm surprised that LEGO like painted them when they have studs on them, because if you build on top of them, that'll like rub off the paint over time. But I'm really glad that they did, because again, I just think that it makes it look really good. And obviously the Infinity Gauntlet had way more like gold parts than this has silver, but even the lines all on the side here, all of that is the same kind of silver color, and it just shines, it just catches the light really well, and it shines beautifully. The way the bottom part of this gauntlet was built was pretty interesting, actually. I had a lot of fun putting it together, because you kind of just paste, like, how these things work. Like, it's basically like a core of just like studs all around, and then you're just pasting sections onto it. But I really liked putting on like the side sections and the bottom sections. It was a lot of fun to build and see it come together. And this was a pretty quick build. I think I finished it in probably like an hour. But it was fun. I really like doing builds like this. So I like the lines of silver there. You can see that the time stone, again, like this kind of mudguard piece, that's also in a light gray, not the drum lacquered silver, although it's surrounded by a couple of silver parts. Again, this one kind of bothers me a little bit more than the Mind Stone one, just because with the Mind Stone holder, like there's enough silver around it for it to get lost. But again, it's not a huge deal. It still works well. Like, I'd say that there's even a bigger difference between pearl gold and like the painted gold than the silver and the drum lacquered silver. Sorry, I meant to say between the gray and the drum lacquered silver. So this side is pretty much the same, although obviously there is no thumb. And then down here, this is what I was talking about with how the glove just kind of comes to a nice point, unlike the Infinity Gauntlet. I really like this bottom section. It's all in gray, but again, it's on the bottom, so you don't notice it that much, and it looks like you could just pull it off, but you can't because these things are just built straight into the base. But I really like that. Like, I mean, I honestly kind of wish you could remove the base and just like stand this glove up like on its end. But yeah, you know, like you could totally envision putting your hand in there. And this is like, you know, roughly the size of a human hand. I mean, let me raise this up a little bit. Like, look, I could like basically hold hands with it. And so I really like that because the Infinity Gauntlet was obviously a little bit smaller, well, a lot smaller than it is like in universe, but this is way more life size. It's still not fully life size because as you can see, like my hand is still like a lot bigger than it, but it's much closer to life size than the Infinity Gauntlet was. The base is just the typical, you know, like helmet base style with the little plaque. I don't like this plaque, like the print doesn't feel centered. And I feel like the words Nano Gauntlet should be a little bit bigger, but again, minor complaint because we're all mostly here for the build anyway. So then moving into the finer details, we've already taken a quick look at the Time Stone and the Mind Stone, but now we have all of the others as well. I don't remember if these are the same builds that were used on the Infinity Gauntlet, but I don't think they are. Again, I'll address that in my comparison video. But we've got the Power Stone, the Space Stone, the Reality Stone, and then of course the Soul Stone. And I love the way that these are framed because they're put into golden minifigure satchels held in place by minifigure roller skates. That is such clever parts usage. Like, I'm amazed that the designer came up with that. This is a very accurate look. Like, yes, there's a lot more gold in this than you might remember, like once you get up into the fingers, but that is accurate to the movie. There is that much gold, like in between the finger joints. And these satchel pieces like perfectly recreate the little like knuckle shapes that are on the regular gauntlet. Like, this is just such an inspired parts usage to me. I really, really like what the designer did there. It's obviously like a little bit clunky because they're supposed to be, you know, closer to the actual fingers, but it's LEGO. They work within their constraints. And like I said, it's just really, really awesome. I love all of the angling in this section in particular because you've got the triangle tiles and then like the wedge tiles and then like those tiles. So all of that like looks really nice. It's all very smoothed over. I guess my one complaint in this section would be that it feels a little bit separate. You know, like it feels like it's pushing out a little bit too much. Everything at the bottom like flows together very well, but like this section, even though I like the shapes, it feels like it's just popping out a little bit too much. But again, LEGO has constraints. It's not a perfect system for making, you know, like large scale display replicas like this. So I think that they've achieved the look of the thing because the actual Nano Gauntlet, and I do have, you know, like the life-size prop replica, which I actually might compare this to as well. But I mean, like they've achieved the look as best they can with the pieces that they have. So then it's time to go into the fingers. So we've got a little flap here at the base of the thumb, and over here is the actual thumb. It's on a ball joint, but it's a little bit bulkier than the Gauntlet's thumb, so it can't move inwards as much. You can still make this thing snap though, which we will take a look at soon. And then you've just got like the one knuckle joint right there. And then moving up higher, we've got the other fingers, which are all built fairly similarly, but they're not exactly the same. And they're actually able to be angled out a little bit, which I really like because, I mean, it just makes it a little bit more natural. And I don't remember if the Gauntlet could do that. So you've got a lot of joints. You have like these pentagonal tiles, and then you've got some drum lacquered gold parts in there to kind of expose the joints between the knuckles. And like I said, that is all very accurate to the actual thing. So I'm really happy about that. Like, you kind of don't realize how much gold is in the Nano Gauntlet until you're building this LEGO set, but, you know, they've done everything very accurately. I think that my one complaint with the fingers would be I don't like seeing those exposed studs right there. I wish that that was like covered with a tile or something, because it just seems a little bit rough when the rest of the thing is so polished. And here's like the bottom part or like the back part of the hand. I think that everything here is also shaped up very nicely. We've got some gold ingot or some gold bar pieces, but cast in gray in here. And the whole palm, again, it's very well textured. You know, like I feel like it does recreate the look of an actual palm. I like these smooth pieces used over here, like these kind of wedge bricks, I guess. Sloping bricks, I don't know what to call them. And I really like these thicker, like also wedge bricks used over here. Again, that stuff could have been smoothed over a little bit more because it's kind of awkward how it goes from such smoothness into such studdedness. But I mean, it's the back of the set, so I don't really care that much. And then we have a lot of nice silver detail right there. That just looks glorious. I love that just like band of silver across the whole thing. And then at the bottom, you've got some more smooth pieces to make it look nice. Like everything just looks good, you know? I think that they could have covered up the studs a little bit more, but LEGO did a pretty good job here. The inside of the fingers, that's a lot of gold there, but again, that stuff doesn't really need to be covered up, and if they tried covering that up with red, then it would kind of inhibit like the ability to move the fingers. And like I said, you can make a snapping motion, so you bring down the middle finger, is that how you do a snap? Okay, yeah, so you bring down the middle finger, right? Yeah, you bring down the middle finger, and then you like lift up the index finger. So you can just barely make them touch, like they don't quite, yeah, like that's pretty much it. They don't like quite touch like as much as the Gauntlet's fingers did, but they still look, you know, they look very appropriate. So then you can kind of curve down these fingers and then like raise the index one. And then there you go, you're snapping. And of course, this is not the Gauntlet that actually snapped, because this is like the human size one, and Hulk is the one who snapped, and the Gauntlet like did adjust in size. So like it changed proportions and everything to fit his hand. And then Iron Man's gauntlet was not this one either, because he just like built one straight into his suit. But I actually really like the snapping pose on this. Like, I think I like it even more than the Infinity Gauntlet. I do not have my Infinity Gauntlet displayed in a snapping position, but I think I might display my Nano Gauntlet in a snapping position, because I think that it actually looks really good from this angle. Here are the extra pieces for this set. There was supposed to be a transparent green stud as well, but I lost it somewhere. There honestly are very few extra parts for a set of this size, and unfortunately no brick separator this time either. Here's the box for this set. It's that typical like tall style that they use for these helmet collection and display style sets. So, I mean, the gauntlet looks great on the front, and you do have a little peek at it on the back, but I really like, again, that snapping position on the back of the box. And you do have some images from the movie as well. The instruction manual for this set is, you know, a fairly typical 18+ one. You have a little bit of information about the actual prop inside, but that's it. There's no, that's actually a really nice picture there, but there's no like ads in the back, not even for the Infinity Gauntlet, which is kind of strange. I think that this is a great set, just like a lot of these display pieces, just like the Infinity Gauntlet and Thor's hammer. Like, this is what I want from the Marvel line. I want life-size or close to life-size prop replicas made out of Lego, because I love prop replicas as someone that's really into Marvel movies, but I never want to buy them because they're really expensive and I don't have room for them and all this other stuff. So Lego making this stuff, to me, is just perfection. I'm a big fan of this. I really recommend buying it. $70 does feel a little bit expensive, just even for the build experience. Like I said, the build experience is quick. There's only like 3 bags of parts. It's fun. It's definitely enjoyable, but is it $70 enjoyable when I like when I look at something like Lego Friends and I can get like a whole city size building for like $70? Like that's kind of the only issue, I think. I don't necessarily think it should be cheaper, because $60, I guess $60 would be a nice price, but that feels like a little bit too low when you see the helmets are $60, but those should be $50. So I don't know. Anyway, if you can find this on sale, it's a no-brainer. Even at $70, I think it's a good deal. I like it a lot, and I definitely do not regret paying that much money for it. I just always want to pay less for Lego. So, but I mean, I will say this is one of my favorite sets of the year already. I knew it just from the look of it. I knew it from when I first heard about it. I knew that I would love this set, but yeah, I really, really like it. So stay tuned for my comparison video, and that's it for today. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe, and check out my website, goldenninja3000.com, and I'll see you guys with more videos soon. Bye for now.